In late 2024, Elon Musk found himself sitting in his private office staring at a computer screen. The room was dimly lit, save for the glow of multiple monitors displaying lines of code, satellite images, and financial charts. He had just received something unusual, an encrypted file sent by an anonymous source. At first glance, it seemed like yet another conspiracy theory or prank. But as he opened the file, his curiosity turned into disbelief. The documents inside were shocking. They contained detailed records of offshore accounts linked to none other than Hillary Clinton. According to these files, she wasn't just involved in politics. She was allegedly tied to a sprawling network of illegal activities. There were bank transfers showing money moving through shell companies, emails discussing arms deals, and even references to bribes paid to foreign officials. It sounded like something out of a Hollywood thriller, but Musk couldn't ignore how meticulously everything was documented. At first, Musk hesitated. Going public with such explosive information would put him directly in the crosshairs of powerful people. He knew that revealing this could make him enemies not only in the US but around the world. Still, he felt conflicted. If what he was reading was true, then keeping quiet meant letting corruption continue unchecked. So he decided to consult a small group of trusted advisors, people who understood both technology and geopolitics. These advisors weren't ordinary folks. Some had backgrounds in intelligence agencies, while others were tech experts capable of verifying data authenticity. After hours of analyzing the files, they confirmed that much of the information appeared legitimate. One advisor remarked, "If we don't act on this, no one else will." Another warned, "But if you do, expect blowback like you've never seen before." Musk wrestled with the decision. On one hand, he believed in transparency and exposing wrongdoing. On the other hand, he knew the risks involved. This wasn't just about him. It was about the safety of his family, employees, and anyone associated with him. But deep down, he couldn't shake off the feeling that this was bigger than personal consequences. If there was even a chance this information could hold truth, staying silent felt wrong. As days passed, word of the leaked documents began spreading online. Hackers and curious netizens somehow got wind of the story, sparking wild rumors across social media platforms. Conspiracy theorists started connecting dots that didn't exist, while skeptics dismissed it all as nonsense. Yet, amidst the noise, serious journalists began digging deeper. News outlets picked up fragments of the leak, though most treated it cautiously, labeling it unverified. The buzz grew louder, drawing attention from every corner of the globe. Feeling the pressure mounting, Musk realized he couldn't sit on the sidelines any longer. He made a bold decision. He would release parts of the documents during a live-streamed event. To ensure his own safety, he relocated to a secure location, a remote facility equipped with advanced security systems and armed guards. Even then, he remained cautious, knowing that those implicated in the scandal wouldn't take this lying down. On the day of the live stream, anticipation reached fever pitch. Millions tuned in, eager to hear what Musk had to say. When he finally appeared, on screen his expression was calm but resolute. Without mincing words, he laid out the evidence piece by piece. He showed screenshots of emails, highlighted suspicious transactions, and explained how the entire operation worked. His presentation was methodical, leaving little room for doubt. About the seriousness of the allegations, the reaction was immediate and intense. Social media exploded with reactions ranging from outrage to disbelief. Supporters praised Musk for having the courage to expose corruption, calling him a modern-day whistleblower. Critics accused him of fabricating the story for attention or political gain. Politicians weighed in, some demanding investigations while others defended Clinton vehemently. The debate dominated headlines for weeks, dividing opinions across the country. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Musk's team scrambled to deal with the fallout. Threats poured in, not just online trolling, but credible warnings targeting his businesses and personal life. Hackers attempted to breach Tesla's servers, and protesters gathered outside SpaceX facilities, accusing Musk of defamation. Despite the chaos, Musk stood firm, vowing to release more information in the coming days. For many watching, the revelation raised more questions than answers. Was this the tip of the iceberg? How deep did the corruption go? And perhaps most importantly, who else was involved? As the dust settled from the initial bombshell, one thing became clear. This was only the beginning of a much larger story. What started as a single leak had ignited a firestorm that showed no signs of dying down anytime soon. The live stream sent shockwaves across the globe. People couldn't stop talking about it. For days, the internet buzzed with debates, theories, and accusations. Elon Musk's presentation had been thorough, too thorough for some people's comfort. He had shown emails, bank records, and even snippets of recorded conversations that painted a chilling picture. According to the documents, Hillary Clinton wasn't just involved in shady dealings. She was allegedly at the center of a massive web of corruption. This wasn't just about one person. It was about an entire system working behind the scenes. As the story gained traction, investigative journalists dove deeper into the allegations. Newsrooms around the world were abuzz with activity. Reporters worked tirelessly, cross-referencing Musk's claims with their own sources. What they uncovered was staggering. The offshore accounts linked to Clinton weren't isolated incidents. They were part of a much larger operation. Money flowed through shell companies registered in obscure locations like the Cayman Islands and Luxembourg. These funds, reportedly, financed everything from illegal arms deals to bribing foreign officials. But it didn't stop there. As more dots were connected, other high-profile names started surfacing. CEOs of major corporations, sitting senators, and even members of royal families appeared to be entangled in this mess. It seemed like the scandal reached far beyond American borders, implicating powerful figures on nearly every continent. One report suggested that certain governments might have turned a blind eye, or worse, actively supported these activities in exchange for favors or financial kickbacks. Public opinion began to fracture. On one side, there were those who saw Musk as a hero, a man brave enough to expose systemic corruption. They rallied behind him, praising his courage and calling for accountability. Social media hashtags like "Expose the Truth" and "Stand with Musk" trended worldwide. Supporters organized protests outside government buildings, demanding investigations and justice. Many felt vindicated, believing that this was proof of what they'd suspected all along. The rich and powerful operated above the law. On the other side, however, skepticism ran rampant. Critics dismissed Musk's claims as baseless conspiracy theories designed to tarnish Clinton's reputation. Some argued that he was using the scandal to distract from his own controversies or to further his political ambitions. Others accused him of cherry-picking evidence to fit a narrative, pointing out gaps in the timeline and inconsistencies in the documents. A few even suggested that the whole thing might be a publicity stunt orchestrated by Musk himself. Amidst the chaos, Hillary Clinton finally broke her silence. She appeared on national television for a primetime interview, looking calm but visibly frustrated. When asked about the allegations, she denied them outright, calling them absurd and completely fabricated. She accused Musk of engaging in reckless character assassination and demanded accountability for his actions. Her tone grew emotional as she spoke about the toll the accusations had taken on her family. "I've dedicated my life to public service," she said, her voice trembling. "And now someone is trying to destroy that legacy with lies." Her supporters rallied behind her, organizing counter-protests outside Tesla factories and SpaceX facilities. They carried signs reading slogans like "Stop the Smear Campaign" and "Believe Women." Online, armies of loyalists flooded comment sections, defending Clinton and attacking Musk's credibility. The divide between the two camps grew wider, with each passing day, turning the scandal into a cultural battleground. Meanwhile, federal agencies launched an investigation into the matter. The FBI and Department of Justice issued statements promising transparency and fairness. However, leaks soon surfaced suggesting interference at the highest levels of government. Whistleblowers within these agencies claimed that pressure was being applied to downplay or dismiss the case altogether. Allegations of tampered evidence and silenced witnesses began circulating online, fueling mistrust among the public. Tensions escalated further when a key witness, a former aide to Clinton, mysteriously disappeared. The aide, whose identity remained undisclosed for safety reasons, had reportedly been preparing to testify against her. Friends and colleagues expressed concern after losing contact with the individual, who hadn't been seen in days. Authorities initially dismissed the disappearance as unrelated, but suspicions grew louder when surveillance footage near the person's last known location went missing. Rumors swirled about foul play. Some speculated that the aide had been silenced permanently, while others believed they were hiding to avoid retaliation. Either way, the vanishing act added another layer of intrigue to an already explosive situation. Conspiracy theorists wasted no time connecting the dots, spinning elaborate tales involving shadowy organizations and covert operations. While most of these stories lacked evidence, they captured the public's imagination, keeping the scandal alive in the headlines. Back at his secure facility, Musk faced increasing threats. His private security team thwarted multiple attempts to breach the compound, including drone flyovers and suspicious vehicles parked nearby. Anonymous messages poured in, warning him to back off or face consequences. Employees at Tesla and SpaceX reported receiving ominous calls and emails urging them to distance themselves from Musk. Even close friends advised him to step away from the spotlight, fearing for his safety. Despite the danger, Musk refused to back down. Instead, he doubled down, releasing more explosive revelations weekly. Each disclosure painted a clearer picture of the alleged crime ring. In one update, he revealed intercepted communications showing how Clinton allegedly orchestrated specific arms deals. In another, he shared internal memos detailing how bribes were coordinated with foreign leaders. Every new piece of evidence kept the public hooked, hungry for answers. Yet, with each revelation came pushback. Clinton's legal team hit back hard, filing lawsuits accusing Musk of defamation and privacy violations. They argued that the leaked documents were either forged or taken out of context. Meanwhile, politicians aligned with her camp called for congressional hearings not into the alleged crimes but into Musk's methods. They questioned the ethics of his actions, framing him as a rogue actor undermining democratic processes. The nation became polarized, with tensions spilling over into real-world violence. Protests erupted in cities nationwide, sometimes turning violent. Clashes broke out between pro-Musk demonstrators and Clinton supporters, leading to arrests and injuries. Social media platforms struggled to contain the vitriol, with moderators scrambling to remove inflammatory posts and hate speech. The atmosphere felt toxic, as if the country itself was on edge. Through it all, Musk remained resolute. He knew the risks he had always known, but he also believed in the power of truth. To him, this wasn't just about exposing one person's alleged misdeeds. It was about shining a light on a broken system. Corruption thrived in darkness, shielded by wealth and influence. By bringing these secrets into the open, Musk hoped to spark change, even if it came at great personal cost. As the weeks dragged on, the stakes continued to rise. Musk's next move would determine whether the momentum could be sustained, or if the scandal would fizzle out under relentless opposition. For now, the world watched and waited, unsure of what would come next, but certain of one thing: the fight was far from over. Behind the scenes, Elon Musk's life had become a whirlwind of tension and danger. Every day brought new threats, some subtle, others glaringly obvious. His team worked around the clock to ensure his safety, but it was clear that whoever stood behind the alleged crime ring wasn't going to back down easily. Anonymous messages flooded in, warning him to stop digging or face consequences. Some were vague. "You're playing with fire." Others were chillingly direct. "Back off, or you'll regret it." Musk's private security detail grew tighter than ever before. Armed guards patrolled the perimeter of his secure facility, 24/7. Drones buzzed overhead, scanning for any suspicious activity. Even his personal vehicles were retrofitted with bulletproof glass and reinforced frames. Despite these precautions, attempts to breach his compound persisted. One night, a drone equipped with a small explosive device was intercepted mid-flight by Musk's anti-drone system. Another time, a suspicious van parked near the property was discovered to contain surveillance equipment. It became clear that Musk wasn't just dealing with online trolls. He was up against people who meant business. The pressure extended beyond Musk himself. Employees at Tesla and SpaceX began receiving threatening calls and emails. Some were told their jobs would be at risk if Musk didn't back down. Others were warned about potential harm to their families. The intimidation campaign was relentless, designed to isolate Musk and force him into silence. But instead of crumbling under the weight of fear, Musk's resolve only hardened. He knew that backing down now would mean letting corruption win, and that wasn't an option. Despite the mounting threats, Musk continued to release more information weekly. Each update added another layer to the story, keeping the public hooked and outraged. In one revelation, he shared intercepted communications showing how the alleged crime ring orchestrated arms deals. These weren't just random transactions. They were carefully planned operations involving multiple countries and intermediaries. Musk explained how the funds flowed through shell companies, making it nearly impossible to trace the money back to its source. In another update, he revealed internal memos detailing how bribes were coordinated with foreign leaders. According to the documents, certain governments received financial incentives in exchange for turning a blind eye to illegal activities. Other nations allegedly provided political cover, allowing the operation to flourish unchecked. Musk's presentation was methodical, leaving little room for doubt about the scale of the alleged scheme. Yet, even as evidence piled up, critics argued that the documents could be forged or taken out of context. Skeptics demanded independent verification, while supporters praised Musk for exposing what they called the greatest scandal of our time. As the revelations kept coming, Hillary Clinton's legal team launched a full-scale counterattack. They filed lawsuits accusing Musk of defamation, invasion of privacy, and violating federal laws. Their strategy was clear: discredit the messenger to undermine the message. In press conferences, her lawyers dismissed the leaked documents as unreliable and incomplete. They claimed that Musk was cherry-picking information to fit a narrative, ignoring key details that might exonerate Clinton. Meanwhile, politicians aligned with her camp pushed for congressional hearings, not into the alleged crimes but into Musk's methods. They accused him of overstepping ethical boundaries and endangering national security. The media circus intensified. Cable news channels aired endless debates, pitting pro-Musk analysts against Clinton loyalists. Social media platforms were flooded with memes, hashtags, and heated arguments. Supporters on both sides dug in their heels, unwilling to budge. Protests erupted nationwide, often turning violent. Demonstrators clashed in major cities, hurling insults and occasionally throwing punches. Police struggled to maintain order, arresting dozens during chaotic rallies. The atmosphere felt toxic, as though the country itself was unraveling. Amidst the chaos, a breakthrough emerged. A second whistleblower came forward. This person, a retired intelligence operative, provided irrefutable proof linking Clinton to the alleged crime ring. The whistleblower's identity remained anonymous for safety reasons, but their credentials were undeniable. They had spent decades working for a top-tier intelligence agency, specializing in uncovering covert operations. Now, they were ready to blow the lid off everything. The whistleblower's testimony included surveillance footage, classified memos, and first-hand accounts of meetings where decisions were made. According to them, Clinton had used her position as Secretary of State to authorize certain covert operations, which later spiraled into something far bigger than anyone anticipated. The whistleblower claimed that these operations weren't just about funneling money, they were about consolidating power. By controlling key players across industries and governments, the alleged crime ring ensured its survival, no matter who was in charge. When Musk announced that he would present this new evidence during a live-streamed event, anticipation reached fever pitch. People wondered if this would finally tip the scales in his favor, or if it would trigger an even fiercer backlash. To prepare, Musk relocated to a different secure location, fortifying it with advanced technology and additional security personnel. He knew the stakes were higher than ever before. If the whistleblower's testimony held up, It could be the smoking gun needed to bring accountability. But if it faltered, Musk risked losing whatever credibility he still had. On the day of the Iowa event, millions tuned in, eager to hear what Musk had to say. When he appeared on screen, his expression was calm but determined. He began by thanking the whistleblower for their bravery, acknowledging the risks they had taken to come forward. Then, he laid out the evidence piece by piece. Surveillance footage showed Clinton attending closed-door meetings with high-ranking officials from various countries. Classified memos detailed specific instructions she allegedly gave regarding arms deals and bribe payments. First-hand accounts painted a vivid picture of how the alleged crime ring operated, step by step. The reaction was immediate and explosive. Social media lit up with reactions ranging from shock to disbelief. Supporters hailed the whistleblower as a hero, praising their courage and calling for justice. Critics, however, doubled down on their skepticism. Some questioned the authenticity of the footage, suggesting it could have been edited or manipulated. Others dismissed the memos as hearsay, arguing that they lacked proper context. Politicians aligned with Clinton demanded an investigation, not into her alleged involvement, but into the whistleblower's motives. Just as momentum seemed to build in Musk's favor, tragedy struck. During the live stream, an explosion rocked the venue where Musk was scheduled to hold a follow-up press conference. Chaos erupted as smoke filled the air, and panicked attendees scrambled for safety. Musk survived but sustained injuries, including cuts from shattered glass and burns from the blast. The whistleblower, who had been preparing to testify in person, was critically wounded and rushed to the hospital. Authorities quickly labeled the attack an act of domestic terrorism, though rumors swirled about international involvement. Investigators combed through the scene, searching for clues. Security footage showed a man carrying a backpack entering the building shortly before the explosion occurred. Witnesses described seeing someone acting suspiciously near the entrance, but no arrests were made immediately. Conspiracy theories ran rampant, with some speculating that rogue elements within the government might have orchestrated the attack to silence Musk once and for all. In the aftermath, Musk withdrew from the public eye temporarily to recover from his injuries. Without his leadership, the movement lost momentum. Clinton's legal team seized the opportunity to mount a fierce defense, casting doubt on the credibility of the whistleblower's testimony. They argued that without Musk actively pushing the narrative, the case would collapse under scrutiny. Public opinion began to shift slightly, with some questioning whether the entire scandal was exaggerated or fabricated. Yet, despite the setbacks, the fight wasn't over. Musk's team vowed to continue releasing information, promising that the truth would eventually come to light. Supporters rallied behind him, organizing fundraisers to support the whistleblower's medical expenses and advocating for transparency. Journalists redoubled their efforts, determined to verify every claim and expose the full extent of the alleged corruption. For now, the world waited anxiously, unsure of what would happen next, but certain that the battle was far from finished. Months passed since the explosion that nearly claimed Elon Musk's life. The world watched with bated breath as he slowly recovered from his injuries, staying out of the public eye while rumors swirled about whether he would continue his crusade. For weeks, there was silence. No updates, no leaks, no new revelations. Critics began to declare victory, claiming that Musk's absence proved the allegations were baseless and that the scandal had finally run its course. But those who truly knew Musk understood one thing: he wasn't the kind of person to give up easily. When Musk re-emerged, it wasn't with fanfare or dramatic announcements. Instead, he quietly posted a short video message online. In it, he looked thinner, his face marked by scars from the explosion, but his eyes burned with determination. "The truth doesn't disappear just because people want it to," he said in a calm yet resolute tone. "This isn't about me. It's about holding powerful people accountable, and I'm not stopping until that happens." The video went viral within hours, reigniting the debate and reminding everyone why this story mattered so much. With renewed energy, Musk decided to take a different approach. He realized that releasing documents piecemeal wasn't enough. He needed allies who could amplify the message and bring credibility to the cause. So, he reached out to investigative journalists around the world, people known for their integrity and willingness to dig deep into complex stories. Together they formed an unlikely coalition, pooling resources and expertise to verify every piece of evidence and ensure nothing could be dismissed as fake or taken out of context. One of these, journalists stumbled upon something groundbreaking. While reviewing financial records linked to the alleged crime ring, she noticed a pattern, a series of payments made to a consulting firm based in Switzerland. At first glance, the transactions seemed innocuous, labeled as routine business expenses. But when she dug deeper, she uncovered connections between this firm and several high-profile politicians, including Hillary Clinton. It turned out that the firm acted as a front, funneling money to individuals involved in the scheme, while maintaining plausible deniability. This discovery became a turning point. With solid proof tying Clinton directly to the illicit funds, the narrative shifted. Skeptics who had previously dismissed the allegations as speculative conspiracy theories now found themselves questioning their stance. Even some of Clinton's staunchest supporters began to distance themselves, fearing guilt by association. Meanwhile, international governments started taking notice. Countries implicated in the arms deals and bribery scandals faced mounting pressure to cooperate with investigations or risk damaging their reputations on the global stage. But perhaps the most significant development came from an unexpected source, a ETS whistleblower within the U.S. intelligence community. This individual, whose identity remained protected for safety reasons, leaked classified documents confirming that federal agencies had long been aware of Clinton's alleged activities. According to the whistleblower, multiple attempts had been made over the years to investigate her ties to the crime ring, only to be shut down by higher-ups citing national security concerns. The leaked files included memos detailing how certain officials allegedly obstructed justice to protect Clinton and her associates. The whistleblower's testimony sent shockwaves through Washington. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle called for hearings, demanding answers about why such critical information had been withheld from the public. For the first time, cracks began to form in Clinton's defense. Her legal team scrambled to respond, issuing statements accusing the whistleblower of fabricating evidence and violating confidentiality agreements. Yet the damage had already been done. Public trust in her version of events eroded further with each passing day. As momentum built against Clinton, Musk took another bold step. He partnered with independent media outlets and grassroots organizations to create a global campaign aimed at keeping the scandal in the spotlight. Through documentaries, podcasts, and social media initiatives, they shared personal stories of people affected by corruption, from whistleblowers who lost their jobs to families torn apart by illegal arms deals funded by the alleged crime ring. These narratives humanized the issue, making it impossible for anyone to dismiss the scandal as abstract politics or distant intrigue. The campaign struck a chord with ordinary citizens worldwide. Protesters gathered outside embassies and government buildings demanding accountability. Hashtags like Justice for All and Expose Corruption trended globally, uniting people across cultures and continents. Even celebrities joined the movement, using their platforms to amplify the message. The sheer scale of outrage forced leaders to take action, or at least pretend to. Some nations launched internal probes, while others pledged cooperation with international investigators. Despite these advances, challenges persisted. Clinton's legal team continued to fight back aggressively, filing lawsuits and lobbying behind the scenes to discredit Musk and his allies. They argued that the ongoing revelations violated privacy laws and jeopardized national security. Meanwhile, hackers attempted to breach databases containing sensitive evidence, forcing Musk's team to bolster cybersecurity measures constantly. The stress took a toll on everyone involved, but they refused to back down. Then, in a twist no one saw coming, a foreign government unexpectedly released a trove of documents implicating Clinton in covert operations overseas. The move shocked diplomats and analysts alike, as the country in question had historically maintained strong ties with the United States. Speculation ran rampant about why they would suddenly turn against a former American leader. Some suggested it was retaliation for past grievances, while others believed it was part of a larger geopolitical strategy. Whatever the reason, the documents added fuel to the fire, providing even more ammunition for prosecutors and investigators. By this point, the case against Clinton had grown too substantial to ignore. Federal agencies reluctantly reopened their investigation, albeit under intense scrutiny. Congressional hearings were scheduled, promising to air decades of secrets in full view of the public. Legal experts predicted that indictments were inevitable, though questions remained about whether Clinton herself would face charges. Her health had reportedly declined amid the scandal, raising ethical dilemmas about prosecuting someone in fragile condition. Through it all, Musk remained steadfast, knowing that the road ahead wouldn't be easy. He understood that exposing corruption wasn't just about punishing individuals, it was about dismantling systems that allowed such abuses to thrive in the first place. Speaking at a virtual summit organized by anti-corruption activists, he reflected on the journey so far. "We've seen what happens when power goes unchecked," he said. "But we've also seen the courage of ordinary people standing up and saying, 'Enough is enough.' That gives me hope." As the world braced for the next chapter in this unprecedented saga, one thing was clear. The fight for accountability was far from over. What had started as a single leak had evolved into a global reckoning, challenging not only those implicated in the scandal, but also the very foundations of trust in institutions. Whether justice would ultimately prevail remained uncertain. But for now, the pursuit of truth kept moving forward, driven by resilience and the unyielding belief that transparency matters. The final chapter of the scandal unfolded with a mix of triumph, tragedy, and unanswered questions. After months of relentless investigation, legal battles, and public outcry, the case against Hillary Clinton reached its climax. Federal prosecutors, backed by mounting evidence from whistleblowers, journalists, and international governments, announced formal charges. The indictment was staggering in scope. Dozens of counts related to corruption, money laundering, illegal arms deals, and bribery. For many, it felt like vindication. Justice, long delayed, finally seemed within reach. However, the reality wasn't as straightforward as some had hoped. While several key figures tied to the alleged crime ring were arrested and convicted, Clinton herself avoided prison time. Her legal team argued that her age and declining health made incarceration inappropriate, and after weeks of intense deliberation, the court agreed. Instead, she was placed under house arrest and fined millions of dollars, a punishment that left many feeling unsatisfied. Critics accused the justice system of bending the rules for the powerful, while supporters breathed a sigh of relief, believing she had suffered enough through public humiliation and isolation. Despite this outcome, the ripple effects of the scandal continued to reshape the world. Dozens of accomplices, including high-ranking officials, corporate executives, and foreign dignitaries, faced consequences for their roles in the operation. Some resigned from their positions in disgrace, others were stripped of titles and privileges. A few fled the country hoping to escape prosecution, but international warrants ensured they couldn't hide forever. Slowly but surely, the sprawling network that had thrived in secrecy began to crumble, dismantled piece by piece. For Elon Musk, the victory came at a steep personal cost. The explosion that nearly took his life left lasting scars, not just physical ones, but emotional and psychological wounds as well. He spent countless nights reflecting on the sacrifices he'd made, friendships strained, businesses disrupted, and threats that still lingered even after the dust settled. Yet despite everything, he refused to see himself as a victim. In interviews, he spoke candidly about the toll the ordeal had taken, acknowledging moments of doubt and fear. But he also emphasized why he believed it was worth it. "If we let corruption go unchecked, then what kind of future are we building?" he asked during one conversation. "This isn't about me. It's about making sure no one gets away with exploiting power for personal gain." Musk's role in exposing the scandal earned him both admiration and criticism. Supporters hailed him as a modern-day hero, someone brave enough to challenge the status quo and shine a light on dark truths. They credited him with sparking a global movement against corruption, inspiring ordinary people to demand accountability from their leaders. Protesters carried signs reading, "Thank you, Elon," at rallies, and grassroots organizations dedicated to transparency sprang up in his name. To them, he represented hope, a reminder that even the most entrenched systems could be shaken if people worked together, but not everyone viewed him so favorably. Detractors accused him of overstepping boundaries, claiming his actions destabilized governments and endangered lives. Conspiracy theories persisted, with some suggesting he had ulterior motives or was part of a larger agenda. Others argued that his methods, releasing unverified documents relying on anonymous sources, undermined journalistic integrity and set a dangerous precedent. The debate over whether Musk was a savior or a provocateur raged on, dividing opinions across the globe. Amidst the polarized reactions, one undeniable truth emerged. The scandal had exposed deep flaws in the systems meant to protect society. It revealed how easily wealth and influence could corrupt institutions, turning them into tools for personal gain. It highlighted weaknesses in oversight mechanisms, showing how those in power could manipulate laws and regulations to shield themselves from scrutiny. And perhaps most importantly, it underscored the importance of transparency in holding leaders accountable. In the aftermath, calls for reform grew louder. Activists pushed for stricter campaign finance laws, greater regulation of offshore accounts, and stronger protections for whistleblowers. Governments around the world introduced legislation aimed at curbing corruption, though skeptics questioned whether these measures would truly make a difference. Some nations went further, establishing independent commissions to investigate similar allegations within their borders. The scandal served as a wake-up call, forcing societies to confront uncomfortable realities about how power operated behind closed doors. Yet, even as progress was made, doubts lingered. Many wondered whether the convictions and reforms were enough to prevent future scandals, or if they were merely band-aids covering deeper wounds. Would new safeguards actually work? Or would cunning individuals find ways to circumvent them? Could trust in institutions ever fully recover? Or was cynicism now permanently ingrained in public consciousness? These questions weighed heavily on people's minds, shaping conversations about governance, ethics, and justice for years to come. For Musk, the experience marked a turning point. Though he returned to running Tesla and SpaceX, his perspective had shifted. He became more vocal about social issues, using his platform to advocate for causes beyond technology and innovation. Whether speaking out against censorship, championing renewable energy, or supporting education initiatives, he framed his efforts as part of a broader mission to create a fairer, more transparent world. His critics dismissed this evolution as opportunism, but his supporters saw it as growth, the mark of someone who had faced immense challenges and emerged wiser because of them. As time passed, the scandal faded from headlines, replaced by newer crises and controversies. But its legacy endured. Textbooks included chapters analyzing the events, framing them as a pivotal moment in history when ordinary citizens rose up to challenge entrenched elites. Documentaries explored the human stories behind the headlines, giving voice to whistleblowers, investigators, and victims of corruption. Artists created works inspired by the drama, capturing the tension, courage, and resilience that defined the era. Looking back, Musk often reflected on the lessons he had learned. He realized that fighting corruption wasn't a one-time battle. It was an ongoing struggle requiring vigilance, collaboration, and sacrifice. He understood that shining a light on wrongdoing didn't guarantee immediate change. Sometimes it simply planted seeds that would grow over time. And he accepted that while he couldn't fix everything, he could contribute to a larger movement striving for accountability and fairness. In one of his final public statements about the scandal, Musk struck a hopeful yet realistic tone. "We've exposed the rot," he said, "but rooting it out completely will take generations. What matters is that we keep trying." Every step forward counts, no matter how small. With those words, he signaled his intention to remain engaged, hinting at future battles ahead. Whether tackling climate change, advancing space exploration, or continuing his fight against corruption, Musk vowed to stay committed to the principles that guided him throughout the scandal: truth, transparency, and the belief that ordinary people have the power to shape extraordinary outcomes. And so, as the world moved on, the story of Elon Musk and the startling secrets he revealed served as both a cautionary tale and a beacon of hope. It reminded us of the dangers of unchecked power and the potential for collective action to challenge it. It showed us that even in the darkest times, there are always those willing to stand up and say, "Enough." Most importantly, it proved that the pursuit of justice, though messy and imperfect, is always worth fighting for.